I've been a welder for over 40 years, and nothing clears my head like a late-night stroll around my property. I live alone on a sprawling upstate Ohio farm with only my old hound Jasper for company. The house feels cavernous without my late wife Eleanor. After her cancer took her 6 years ago, I never had the heart to move somewhere smaller. My kids moved out long ago, and it's just Jasper and me. The first sighting one crisp autumn evening, following a long shift in the weld shop, I grabbed Jasper's leash and set off on my usual mile-long loop. The air smelled of damp earth and dry leaves. Jasper padded beside me, tongue lolling, happy to be out. We'd strolled this route hundreds of times, yet tonight something felt off. As we rounded the corner toward the old charcoal kiln, now my late wife's former workshop, I caught movement in the upstairs window of our farmhouse. It's the bedroom Eleanor and I shared. For a split second, I thought I saw a shadow pass by the lace curtains. I froze, chest tightening. No one belonged up there, not since Eleanor was gone. Heart pounding, I raced inside, Jasper barking at my heels. I bounded up the narrow staircase and flung open the bedroom door. Empty. Sheets undisturbed, dresser drawers closed, the scent of Eleanor's lavender sachets still faint in the air. My anger surged. How dare something spook me like that in my own home? I shook my head, convinced I'd imagined it, and went downstairs to calm Jasper by the hearth. The midnight creaks the next night, jolted awake by Jasper's low growl. I sat up in the dark and strained to hear. Barely audible over the wind, a soft creak sounded from upstairs, footsteps moving across the hallway floor. I clicked on my bedside lamp and grabbed my old hunting knife. If an intruder was in my house, I'd be ready. But again, the bedroom was untouched, everything in its place. I stood in the doorway for a long minute, listening to my own breath and the hum of the radiator. Lights left on night. 3 brought a different terror. I descended bleary-eyed to the kitchen and found the overhead light blazing. I remember turning it off before bed, no question. Fear prickled my scalp. Someone was slipping through these rooms. I called the county sheriff. 2 officers combed the house from attic to basement, but found no footprints, no forced entry, nothing. Their kind smiles and polite assurances didn't settle my gut. The clothes on the floor. The worst came the 4th night. Restless, I crept upstairs again, determined to set my nerves straight. As I stepped into the bedroom, I froze. After 6 years of being neatly packed away, Eleanor's Sunday dresses and cardigans lay strewn across the wood floor. Someone had rifled through her wardrobe. Horror erupted in my chest. And then I saw her, a woman standing in the hallway just beyond the open closet door. Not Eleanor. She was too small, silhouette hunched, face hidden in shadow. I lunged forward with my knife, heart screaming, and she bolted past me down the stairs, out the front door. Jasper shot past me barking, but when we spilled outside, no one was there. The damp grass held no footprints. Living in fear from that night on, sleep became my enemy. Every floorboard creak, every wind-whipped branch sounded like her return. I kept my old Winchester rifle by the bed and refused to turn out the lights. I thought about calling my brother to stay with me, but stubborn pride wouldn't let me admit I needed help. Jasper and I hunkered down, each night a parade of terror and half-awakened dreams. The silhouette in the yard, then, one moonless night, I saw her again, silhouette outlined in the soft glow of my living room lamp, watching through the window. Fear and rage warred inside me as I grabbed the rifle and burst outside, Jasper barking wildly. I fired 2 warning shots into the meadow. She vanished in an instant. I searched until dawn, calling her name, scouring every shadowed clump of trees. Nothing. No tracks, no sound, not even a rustle. Just my ragged breath and Jasper's alert growl. Nowhere to hide. It's been 2 years. I still live here, still walk those nightly loops with Jasper, still check every window before bed. Some nights I glimpse her face in the darkness, pale, hollow-eyed watching, and I know she's waiting for me to let my guard down. I've armored myself with locks, lights, and my trusty rifle. But I'm convinced that no matter how prepared I am, she'll slip in again, because this isn't just a random break-in. She knows every corner of this house. She knows Eleanor's room as well as I do. And she isn't going away. If you ever find yourself alone and unsettled in the silence, know this. Sometimes the shadows in your home are more than tricks of the light. And the past, once it stirs, never truly sleeps. I've always enjoyed late-night walks. There's something about the stillness, no traffic, no radios, no distant lawnmowers, that makes the world feel simpler. I'm a welder by trade, near retirement now at almost 65, and I've spent over 40 years bending steel in noisy shops. By contrast, those dark farm roads that wind through my 30-acre property feel like sacred silence. It's just me and my dog, Bosley, in a big old farmhouse that Maria and I raised our 2 kids in. After cancer took my wife 8 years ago, the house felt enormous and empty, but I couldn't bear to sell. The kids moved to Portland and Seattle, only visits now. Bosley, a half-lab, half-mystery mix, is my shadow. I swear he likes me more than I like him sometimes, but I'm grateful for the company. On R1, the unsettling glimpse. One autumn evening, after a grueling 12-hour shift in the shop, I tucked my tool belt in the corner and grabbed Bosley's leash. Dusk had just dipped into night. The air was as crisp as a new dollar bill. We set out on our familiar loop, past the old barn ruins, along the overgrown fence row, then over the creek bridge. Bosley padded ahead, nose low to the ground, tail wagging. I followed, breathing in wood smoke from neighbors' chimneys, and the first whiffs of winter's frost. As we rounded the last curve before the house, a movement caught my eye. I glanced up at our second-story window, the one in the bedroom where Maria's perfume still lingers in the drapes, and for a heartbeat, I thought I saw a silhouette there. A quick, unnerving flicker, like a child watching us from behind the glass. My heart slammed into my ribs. No one lived up there. I haven't set foot in that room since the funeral. Bosley stopped and growled low in his throat. "Hey boy, it's nothing," I muttered, voice thick. Still, I raced across the yard, yanking open the back door. My boots thudded up the stairs and the room was empty. Maria's old wicker, chair, lace curtains, the brass bed frame gleaming under the hallway light. I flicked on every lamp and looked under the bed, inside the closet, behind the dresser. Nothing. No footprints, no scuff marks, no signs someone had been there. Yet, I knew I'd seen something. I stood in the center of the room, fury rising to mask my terror. If some trespasser thought they could spook me in my own home, they'd chosen the wrong man. But after a few minutes, I chalked it up to exhaustion and imagination. I shut off the lights and stumbled back to bed, Bosley at my heels, heart still hammering. 2. The creaking above. That night's sleep was fitful, filled with half-dreams of a woman's silhouette drifting by the window. Around 3 a.m., Bosley's fierce growl ripped me awake. I snapped upright, heart pounding, straining for sound. Overhead came it, faint creaking footsteps, slow, deliberate, inching along the hallway floorboards. I froze, listening as each creak landed directly above my bedroom. I debated fetching my old hunting rifle from the closet downstairs, but my hands closed on the flashlight by my bed, and I crept to the door. I cracked it open, beam slicing into the darkened hall. Nothing. The floorboards were empty except for my own footprints. I shone the light down the corridor, doors closed, dust motes dancing, no intruder. I exhaled, knuckles white around the flashlight. By then, Bosley was whining at my side, pawed at my leg. Every instinct screamed, "We're not alone." 3 lights. Left on the next evening, muscle memory drove me back into the house after chores. Bosley and I padded in through the mudroom, only to find the kitchen lights blazing. I never leave lights on. I flicked the switch off, Then noticed the pantry door, ajar. I swear those hinges hadn't been oiled in years. It should have squeaked, but it swung freely. My heart thudded again. I shut the door, checked every cabinet. Nothing missing, nothing disturbed. Adrenaline stole any appetite. I asked Bosley, "You see that boy?" He simply stared at the pantry, nose twitching. I decided to call the sheriff's office, though they'd probably think I'd lost my mind. I explained calmly, "Someone's been here. I don't think it's a prank." They sent a deputy out who swept the house with a flashlight. Backyard, attic, basement. He patted me kindly on the shoulder. "All clear, Mr. Jensen. Call us if anything else happens." I nodded, but I don't think he believed me. 4. The closet of Maria's clothes. The following night, dread gnawed at me. Sleep was impossible. At 2:30 a.m., I crept upstairs again, this time determined to face whatever was there. I flicked on the hall light and stepped into Maria's room. My breath died in my throat. The floor was littered with her dresses, scarves, even her favorite satin robe. I'd carefully packed those away years ago in cedar chests. Now they lay splayed like tragic petals. I sank to my knees, hand trembling, throat tight. Then I saw her, a woman standing in the doorway, pale and still. I couldn't see her face clearly, but her hair was jet black, cut in a pageboy bob that Maria never wore. She wasn't Maria, but she wore one of Maria's scarves. My mind screamed. I bolted upright and lunged, but she'd already slipped away down the hallway, a shadow among shadows. Bosley barked once, frantic, then dashed past me in pursuit, but returned moments later, alone, ears back, tail tucked. 5. The yard silhouette. I didn't sleep at all. Over the next weeks, every creak and groan of the old house sent me scrambling for my rifle. I rarely left the lights off. Doors were always locked, even interior doors. I stopped answering the phone at night, but nothing would prepare me for the night. I looked out the living room window and saw her again. She stood in the yard, directly under the porch light, perfectly still. Her bobbed hair shone in the glow, glassy eyes fixed on me. Bosley growled deep in his chest. My rifle hung heavy in my hands. A single shot into the darkness shattered the night, just a warning blast. The silhouette wavered, then turned and vanished into the tall grass, as if swallowed by earth itself. 6. Living in suspense. That was 2 years ago. I never saw her again. But sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear the soft scrape of fabric outside my window, or catch a flash of dark hair in the moonlight. Bosley sleeps at the foot of my bed, alert for every faint noise. I've thought about selling the farm, moving to a smaller place, but I can't bring myself to leave that room behind. Part of me fears what I'll find if I don't stay, and part of me feels like, whatever she is, she's tied to this land. I've read ghost stories, lore of the weeping widow who wanders old homesteads, searching for her lost love. I don't know if that's what this is, but whatever she is, she's real enough to keep me on edge every night. And so I walk those fields by flashlight, Bosley at my side, longing for peace I may never find. If you ever feel like the walls are breathing or catch a glimpse of someone who shouldn't be there, trust it. Because sometimes what haunts you isn't in your mind, it's standing just beyond the light. I can't swear I remember every twist perfectly, but here's what happened. Back in high school, I lived in Millbrook, Ohio, a quiet little town where bored kids look for thrills in empty places. My friends and I, Sam 17, Jade 16, Marco, who's 17, Olivia 16, Finn 18, and I, Lucas 17, had discovered an old abandoned hospital 2 miles outside of town. It became our favorite midnight haunt, until one October night changed everything. The place sat behind a rusted chain-link fence, its sign long peeled away. We always climbed over the side gate and slipped in through a broken window on the east wing. Inside, the first floor was gone, just an empty pit of earth and tangled roots where the boards had rotted away. In the center, concrete stairs led down into a dank basement. That October evening, we snuck in with half-packs of cheap cider. The air smelled of damp concrete and old medicine cabinets. Sam clicked on his Bluetooth speaker, and eerie synth chords echoed through the empty halls. Jade and Olivia giggled, while Marco and Finn passed around metal mugs of cider. I kept watch by the stairwell, my heart thumping at every groan the building made. After a while, a slammed door upstairs shattered our laughter. It was deafening, like someone had hurled a sheet of metal in the ceiling. We froze. No one had gone anywhere near that room. Jade's face drained of color. "Let's just go," she whispered, but Sam shook his head. "Not until we see what that was." My pulse raced, but I couldn't turn back. Curiosity won over fear. The four of them bolted up the stairs, leaving Sam, Olivia, and me behind. Our little trio crept toward the door that had slammed shut. Dust motes glinted in our flashlight beams as we edged closer. Behind the door was a tiny room. At its far corner stood a battered dresser whose cracked mirror reflected our pale faces. Fresh, glistening stains flecked the glass in angry red streaks, far too bright and wet to be paint. My stomach flipped. The smell of iron flooded my nostrils. On the dresser lay a single black and white photograph. A bride beneath an archway of wilted flowers, her veil gone, her lips curved in a brittle smile. Something in her eyes felt wrong, hollow, watching. As I stared, I heard a soft scuffle behind me. I spun, heart lodged in my throat. Sam and Olivia were already backing away, eyes wide. Then came another sound, a low, echoing moan rolling up the stairs, exactly the way it would sound if it came from the chamber above. That was our cue. Without hesitation, we bolted, stumbling up the stairs in the dark as cider sloshed in our hands. We burst through the window together, landing on cold grass and slick concrete. None of us spoke as we scrambled away, the October wind biting our cheeks. When I dared to look back, I thought I saw her silhouette in the window pane, a hunched, veil-like shape watching us go. My chest tightened. Don't stay. We didn't. No last glances, no dares. We tore back to town in silence, the crunch of our footsteps swallowed by the night. Weeks later, I returned, alone this time, only to find demolition crews had leveled the entire hospital. The pit was filled in, not a single window remained. I never discovered who she was. The bride in the mirror, the one who slammed the door, the one who watched us run. All I know is that something ancient and restless lingered in that basement, and its red tears still haunt my dreams.